Today we're going to be working on how do you make a circle graph. We've been working on our statistics unit, and this is the last type of graph that we're going to examine is today. We're going to make a circle graph. Now the first thing when you're making a circle graph is to collect your data. Sometimes I will give you the data and you won't have to actually collect it. The second step is we have to calculate the percent, or we know the part out of the whole. The third step is then we need to calculate the degrees, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Then we're going to draw our angles on our circle graph and label them. And this gives you specific details as to how to label. Okay, let's collect some data on eye color. Let's see who has blue eyes, brown eyes, and hazel eyes. We'll see if anybody has anything different. Hazel's kind of greenish. All right, how many have blue eyes? Raise your hand, please. Okay, looks like 5 people. Okay, brown. 6. 6. Hazel. 5. All right, so we just completed step 1. We collect some data. Now again, sometimes I will give you the data and you won't actually have to do that collection part. Okay, the next step is to do what? Calculate the percent. In other words, if I have 5 people with blue eyes, how do I figure the percentage that have blue eyes? I have to get my total first. I have to add them up, which would be 16. So then I want you right here, you're getting 5 out of 16 is what percent? Everybody agree with 31%? Are your calculators out working? Now, did this come out to be a nice number? No, and when you're dealing with real data, it may not come out to be nice. So let's go ahead and round this to the nearest whole percentage, and we get 31%. All right, let's do the same with the brown. 6 out of 16. You get 0.375, which is about 38%. And then we have another 5 out of 16, which is 31%. Now, if we've included everybody in the class, what should these percentages add up to be? Do they? Check. I think they do, because 8 plus 1 plus 1 should give me a 10. I think I'm good, 100%. Now, because of the rounding issue, you may run into a situation where they don't equal 100%. In other words, if I have a lot of them that kind of like it's 31.6, 38.5, they're all really kind of close, but you're causing them to round up, may cause you to go over 100%. If so, when you're really collecting data, I ask you to then adjust one of them. Okay? If you need help with that, then you can kind of see me. But you want to try to get this to be 100%. Most times it comes out and it works out okay. There are just a few times that it doesn't. All right, let's go then to step 3. Here's the new part. We're going to calculate the degrees. Now, what do you know about a circle? It's 360 degrees. So we're going to set a proportion using the percent over 100 and x over 360, because 360 will be your whole. So you're thinking percent over 100 equals the part over the whole. And what is the whole circle? 360. So in this case, what do I put over 100? Right, I have 31 over 100 equals, do we know the part? N over 360. Okay, let's do the calculations and see what we come up with. Okay, when you use cross products, did you come up with 111 and 6/10? Thumbs up if you're okay with that. Okay, anybody need help on how we got 111 and 6/10? Okay, so then let's go ahead and round that, please, to 112 degrees. Okay, what proportion would I use to find 38% of 360? 38 over 100 equals n over 360. Okay, now we'll do the math. Okay, 136.8, which is about, okay, we may end up getting into some trouble because what are we having to do each time? We're rounding up, aren't we? So we'll see. Yeah, we're going to be over, I think, 360 degrees. So we'll make an adjustment to 1. And this last one will be 31 over 100 again. Again, it's 5% equals n over 360. We've actually already calculated that, and we should get 112 degrees. Okay, now when I add these up, because I'm rounding up each time, it's over 360 degrees, isn't it? It's going to be 361. So because these two are exactly the same, in other words, they were the same part, so they should be the same degree measurements, I'm going to adjust the 137 to 136 when I graph it. Okay, and I may put a little star to let me know that that's the one that you've adjusted. Now, why did we have to do that? To make it even, because if not, it's not going to fit on your circle. Now, you could do these exact, but when you draw them, are you going to be able to tell the difference between 111 and 112? No, it's going to be really, really close. Really close. Okay, so we completed steps 1, 2, and 3 so far. Now we're ready to go to step 4. Are there any questions before we go on to step 4? All right, let's take out your circles. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we know that we have, was it 112 degrees, 136 degrees, and then another 112 degrees. This was blue. This was brown and hazel. I know you don't have to recopy that. That's just to remind me. All right, so let's take your protractors. Here's where the first step that you do on your protractor when you're drawing your graph is to make a ray from the center point out on the circle. A radius. This is called a radius, halfway through. Just make a ray that goes on our segment from the center point to a point on the circle. Now I'm right-handed, so I kind of always start on the right. Does it matter? No. But this is what I call my baseline. This is the base point or your starting point. What do I need that for? I need that to line my protractor up. Now your protractor is just a little bit different than mine because yours goes to where the bottom is at 0. Okay, do you notice that? Take your protractors out. Your bottom should be right along this line. Okay, and you see that little diamond they have on yours? It's up here floating somewhere. It does not go over the center circle. Okay, that diamond's just kind of pointing you to, hey, you know what? This point right there on your edge of your protractor needs to be right over the center circle. You should be able to see, just barely, the line. Can you see it? If you're having trouble getting it lined up, raise your hand. We'll come around and help you. So then we're going to start, since my ray or my segment is pointing to the right, I need to start counting over here. So do I use the top numbers or the bottom numbers? If I start here, I have to start 0, so I need the top numbers. And I'm going to count up to 112. So here's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. And then I go 2 marks over and put a little mark there. That should be your 112. You have to go the top because this is where I'm starting. I start at 0. Now think about it. 112 degree angle, is it acute, obtuse, or right? Is it the top? Okay, then once you've done that, take your straight edge, turn your protractor and use your straight edge part, and make your segment connecting the two. Okay, connecting. Now, once your straight edge is there, then you can kind of bring it back down to just fit on the circle. Okay, then you need to label it. This would be blue eyes. And what's the percent? 31%. And then how many degrees? 112 degrees. Okay, then here's what I suggest that you do. You need to rotate your circle so that what's your new baseline now? The new line that you just created. So you're going to line your protractor up. To where that's right over the center now. Okay, then you're going to calculate how many degrees? 136 degrees. So I go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 110, 120, 130, and 136. Is it going to be a big angle? Yes. Okay, then use your straight edge. Then use your straight edge, and then finally label. So you're going to get brown. How many degrees was it? 38%. I'm sorry, 38% and 136 degrees. Now, do we need to draw the third part? Well, let's double check it. Get your protractor out, and again, you need to rotate it so that now this new segment is your new baseline. And let's see if this is going to be about 112. Does it look like it? Sure does. Okay, so I have to label that part. Now, does it matter what order you put them in? Not necessarily. I usually like to write them in the order that they're given, but it doesn't matter. So now I have hazel. How many degrees? 112 at 31%. Include all that. Now, I'm missing something. What's missing? My title. And this you might call it just eye color. So we have successfully completed all the steps for drawing a circle graph. First, we had to collect our data. Then we calculated our percents. Then we calculated our degrees. And then we drew it onto our graph. Are there any questions? Okay, so you calculate this and you get 62. So we would think that in the entire school we would find 62 students with blue eyes. Now this is how do you solve a circle graph problem. That would be if they give you some data. Now if I change the number of students, what would change in my proportion? The percent stayed the same because that was my data. But what's going to change? The whole. The whole. Okay, in other words, if I had 500 students in the school, then I would change the 200 to 500. Okay, are there any questions on circle graphs? We have learned how to create and analyze circle graphs today.